I walked into my dorm room back in 1963, and there was a note that said, "Randy, you're failing a class." And I thought, gosh, I knew the parts of speech. I could understand an essay when I read it. I had taken English in high school. I could even diagram a sentence. But my professor said, "You just can't write very well." So I reached out to my professor and I said, "I'd like to talk with you." And we sat down and he said, "It's really fairly simple, organizationally. Tell me what you're going to say in your introduction. Say it in 3 or 4 points, flesh them out, and then tell me what you just said." It's that simple, Randy. Now, you might think Professor Richards was just doing academic counseling for Randy. But as I unfold my story, you'll say, oh, he was mentoring Randy. Mentoring is when somebody shares their experience and their knowledge and their understanding with somebody that needs help. And that's exactly what Professor Richards did for me. Actually, Professor Richards became Bert. I got to know him really well. I took every class that he taught at Indiana State University. I visited his home many times in the evenings just to talk through things. After I graduated, I would go to his house, I'd be on campus, and I would stop and visit him in his office. Even after he retired and moved to North Carolina, I went out there to visit him. So Professor Richards had an impact on me. And he helped me become a better communicator. He helped me reduce my stress because he said, I grade on improvement. And by golly, at the end of that semester, I got a B+ in that class. I was failing at midterm, I got a B+. And he said, and he gave me a little more self-awareness. Now, my wife will tell you, Randy, you need to turn down the self-awareness a little bit. You're a little too aware of yourself and a little too confident. But put yourself in my shoes at that time. Here I was a freshman at college, and I was failing a course. What if I didn't have what it took to get a graduate degree or to graduate? My dad was the superintendent of schools. He was very well educated. I wanted a career in broadcasting. What if I couldn't get a degree? Could I get a career in broadcasting? But Bert Richards helped me work through those challenges. And I did graduate. And I did it actually 3 different times. But I have more degrees than most people need. So what I learned from my mentoring experience with Bert sticks with me even to today. Now, not long ago, I went to a conference, and I heard Brady Beecham talk. And Brady was talking about when she was in high school, she heard that Rotary was looking for students to attend or to go to school in another country for a year, youth exchange. She got excited about that and thought, I'm going to apply. And her high school counselor helped her with her application. She mentored her and helped her with that. Well, the next year, Brady was in Spain. She lived with a family in Spain, and the woman in that family was a medical doctor. Brady today is a medical doctor. Just think of the mentoring experience of living in that home with a doctor to see what the daily life was like. That helped Brady. She came back to the United States, went to medical school, and then during medical school, she heard of another opportunity to go overseas. She applied. This time it was for what's called an ambassadorial scholar with Rotary again. That took her to India. And while she was in India, she was mentored by the faculty there. She got an understanding of what it's like to live in a different culture. And she learned from the people that she lived with in India. So she came back, she graduated from medical school, and said, I want to explore my career. Once more, she reached out and asked somebody, can you sit down and help me work through this? And that person said, sure. And when Brady told me about this experience, she said, Randy, I think that mentors get as much out of mentoring as the mentees do. So several things that Brady learned. One is to be proactive. She was proactive in applying for that study abroad both times. She was proactive in reaching out to that other doctor to say, what should I do in my career? And she, of course, learned from the people around her. Well, today, Brady lives out in central Nebraska. She says it's like an international village where I'm living in Lexington. And the industry in that area has attracted a lot of people from Hispanic countries. Bingo! Her Spanish helps her with those people. Her understanding of what it's like to live in a different culture helps her with those folks. So Brady's learned a great deal through her mentoring experiences. About a year and a half ago, I met a young woman in Cairo, Egypt. While I was in the United States, she was in Cairo, Egypt. I mentored her, along with a group of 3 others, through the Moonshot Pirates program. Nadine lives in Cairo, I told you. She's in high school. And one time when we were in one of our discussions, she said, Randy, I think I might want to be a medical researcher. I have a nephew in California who is in medical research. He's got an MD and a PhD, and he says, I'm not a real doctor. But I connected the 2 of them. Well, not long ago, when I talked with Nadine, she said, Randy, that was really helpful because I realized medical research is not for me. So she's going into another area of study. I continue to stay in touch with Nadine, even though the mentoring program that we were involved in is over. I'm helping her find her way to the United States to go to college. And she is such an impressive young lady. During the time that I mentored her, there was Camille, also in Poland, in Poland, and Mariana was in Portugal, and Tim, he's from Germany, but he was spending a semester abroad. I met with them every other week, and we worked through things like, what are your strengths? What are your challenges? How are you going to make this a better world? These are all things that I talked with them about. I didn't give them the answers. I just helped them discover those answers. So mentoring can help you help other people find the answers to some of life's big challenges. Now you say, okay, Randy, how can I do this? Well, there are several organizations that I think can help you. For example, Coach Osborne and his wife, Nancy, they founded Teammates a number of years ago. Connect with teammates and mentor a young person. Or Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Or Junior Achievement. And I've already mentioned Rotary, you got Kiwanis, you got Optimus, different organizations that have connections with people internationally. There are a lot of opportunities for you to mentor someone. So if you're an adult, and as I look out of the audience, I see a lot of adults in the audience today. If you're an adult, make yourself available. If you have a young person reach out to you, say, I'd be happy to sit down with you. And if you're a young person, I see a few young people out there, when you have a challenge in your class, reach out and ask for help. I did, and Bert Richards helped me throughout my life. Even today, when I sit down to write something, Bert's right there beside me, helping me, guiding me through the writing that I'm doing. And if you're a young person and you have the opportunity to travel abroad for a semester or even for a couple of weeks, do it. When I talk to Brady and about her opportunities, they have a lifelong impact. And if you have a young person in your home, let me encourage you to connect them with a responsible adult. Lisa DeMoore is a researcher and a studier. She studies teenagers. She's written a book called The Mental Health of Teenagers. She says the single most powerful force for teenage mental health is a strong relationship with a caring adult. David Brooks, in his recent book, talks about how youth today are on the edge of adulthood, but unfortunately, almost half of them are concerned about the future. You can reach out and touch somebody and help them with mentoring. So you look at my life and the mentoring that I've had, and it's helped me. And I've told you about Brady and Nadine. Mentoring can and will have an impact on your life, but only if you're involved. Thank you.